Shrewd Manager Christianity's position. Archetypal features of Jesus, dating from the 500s, come from the Shroud, not vice versa. Series 1 gives over 30 reasons why the Shroud depicts Jesus of Nazareth. Series 2 gives many reasons why the Shroud looks real, like it enfolded a crucified corpse. Series 3 concludes the Shroud looks real because it is real. Now, in the fourth and final series, we present reasons why the Shroud is ancient, review several image formation theories, and sum up the entire case. There aren't many dots left to connect the Shroud depicts Jesus, and it wrapped a corpse, to its Jesus' blood and death image. The main one is age. Is it old enough to be Jesus' burial cloth? To answer, we'll play a game called Which Came First, Shroud or Archetype. Round 1. Based on evidence from over a dozen videos, we conclude the Shroud is not made by human intention, design, or craft. Our testable, falsifiable position is that no one can recreate on a single cloth both blood and image. We will consider our position rebutted if a faker fakes it, per the parameters of video 3.11. There's good money in this if you can do it. Filmmaker David Rolfe is offering $1 million for any successful faker. Here are his parameters. The challenge: if a medieval conman could do it, why can't you? The Shroud and Archetype share the same main features. Long hair parted down the middle, full beard, narrow face, often with more prominent cheekbones, large owl-like eyes, long nose often flattened. So we already have our game show answer. Copying requires intention. An object not made by human intention, design, or craft cannot copy anything. Just like Mount Fuji can't be a copy of Hokusai's paintings, the Shroud can't be a copy of the Archetype. The Archetype dates to the 500s, so the Shroud is at least that old. Before that, a bearded Jesus competed against a beardless Greek Jesus. Round 2. What do Esquivalients, La Taza Drive in Upland, California, and this Maori word ZZXJOANW have in common? They are all copyright traps, intentional errors put into original work to trap plagiarists. We know God has a sense of humor. Have you seen a platypus? Did God protect his creator's rights to Jesus' image by putting traps in the Shroud? To illustrate, 2 old texts contain a misplaced colon. Scholars consider it beyond dispute that text A copied B, since the colon in B is really an embedded piece of straw. An error. Consider the Archetype's face shape. The Shroud is very similar, but on the Shroud, this is due to imperfections in the linen's weave. A simple density correction blushes the left side of Jesus' face, which was hidden from all prior generations. A photographic technique called image overlay reveals the right side of Jesus' face to also be rounder than it first appears. It's covered with flowers which apparently block image formation. Conclusion: the Archetype plagiarizes the Shroud, so Shroud first, Archetype second. Round 3. So-called Vignon markings also contain apparent copyright traps. French biologist and artist Paul Vignon is credited with identifying 15 unusual traits in the Archetypes and on the Shroud. No single portrait has all 15, but it's too simplistic to say they're all just coincidences. Let's consider one mark. Dr. Petrus Soons, who led a team who converted the image to 3D, describes the transversal double line under the beard, with the upwards going left corner, interpreted by the Byzantine artists as the upper edge of a tunica with a fold on the left side. The lines appear in many such Byzantine portraits of Jesus. As video 2.3 points out, artists' skill and interpretations of the same subject differ even when they copy exactly the same object. These double lines are another fluke, a crease in the fabric, another indication the Archetype is based on the Shroud. Some claim the creases seen in Giuseppe Enria's 1931 photos are not present in Secondo Pia's 1898 photos, meaning creases formed in the 33-year interim. We disagree. Enria's bold creases show up on Pia's photos as this faint mark. Enria's photos show other wrinkles that Pia's don't. Was the cloth thrown in a hamper for 30 years? Crumpled under a church pew? No, Enria's photos are just much better than Pia's. Pia's face shot is a blow-up of a full-body image taken from 26 feet away, lit from 33 feet away, with exposure times of 14 and 20 minutes. For Pia, glass protected the shroud. For Enria, it was removed. Enria took close-ups, reproducing a life-sized face on large 40 by 50 centimeter photographic plates. Further, he used extreme raking light, which accentuated creases and folds. Even the electricity available to the two men greatly improved in the interim. Round 4. Another apparent copyright trap is the face's position on the cloth. Soons shows the center of these haloed archetypes is not the center of the face, but the inside corner of Jesus' left eye. Now see the shroud. Following Dr. John Jackson's work on fold marks and several methods of visual analysis, Soons centered a halo on the quarter panel containing Jesus' face. Like the archetype, the line intersects the inside corner of his left eye. This position is because his body was draped off-center. This is another fluke copied in the archetypes. In sum, the shroud and archetype portray the same man. Because the shroud isn't handmade, it cannot have copied the archetypal features. This dates the shroud back to the 500s at least. Supporting this conclusion, reverential Byzantine artists faithfully reproduced what they observed, including flukes, showing the paintings and coins are the copies and the shroud is the original. Next, cloths with images of Jesus appear throughout history. Can any be the shroud under a different name?